Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Tuesday, September the 19th, 2023. Tuesday, September the 19th. Well, let's start with Sasha and the gang. They're talking over, what plans they have, what they could do. Sasha comes out of, the shower. Sam had bought her a change of clothes. And so she's like, thank you so much, Sam. I feel normal now, with real clothes on. And she was standing up, face front. Okay, she's not pregnant anymore. Okay, she's working now to start to get that shape back together again. But ladies, we all know when we get to be the mid-30s, takes a little extra time for that baby fat to leave. A little extra time. It's all right, Sasha. We all understand. Okay. So anyway, they're saying, Cody, you can go ahead. And he goes, no, I'm good. And they all looked at him like, no, you're not. No. Go get out of them clothes and take a shower, right? So he's like, oh, okay. So he goes and he takes a shower and he comes out and he goes, here, this is what I found in the pants pocket, of the doctor's pants pocket. Of course, unknown name bottle of pills. And so they're like, I bet you these were going to really render her just incompetent or out of her mind, disable her mentally. And Sasha says, do you think he was going to try to kill me? And so Cody says, look, these were in his pocket, Sasha, when he came into the room. So yeah, he was gonna definitely give them to you. And Dante says, well, you know what? We don't know if he was necessarily gonna kill you, but he was gonna make sure you were rendered incompetent. He's probably gonna move you somewhere else, and you were never going to be competent again. And so, and you know what I thought about, ladies and gentlemen, and Daily Recap fans? Sasha's not the first person he's done this to. So therefore, they need to look into the doctor's record. She needs to put Spinelli's behind to work. Sam does. Look into the doctor's patients and see just how many of them are in hospitals where they just are completely incapacitated. Look at how many of them are there. And Sasha was going to be just on the list of casualties of this doctor. So she goes, well, you know what? We've got the pills. We could just turn ourselves in and tell the truth. Look, Dante's a cop. He's like, no. Just because you have the pills. For one, we can't prove these pills were in Montague's pocket. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Cody just took me. He goes, chain of evidence. The doctor could say Cody had those pills. He never saw them. Okay, even though the doctor's fingerprints will be on the bottle, but Dante's is now, Cody's, and so he says, no, this, we're going to have them analyzed, and this is part of the evidence, but this is not the whole evidence right now. She goes, but he would come in and he was injecting me with something every day. It should be on Ferncliffe's records. And so I think Cody said, or Sam said, I don't think he was logging things or coming to visit you according to procedure, which he wasn't. He was sneaking around hallways. He wasn't even signing in and out. So therefore, there's no record of that, right? And now that she's detoxing, there's no record of what was in her system even. So Sam says, no, we will figure out a plan. Look, give us 24 hours. You guys lay low here and let us get to work on a plan of action. And so Dante looks at Cody and says, you know, one good thing, the chief of police is a friend. And he looked at Cody like, your father. I'm sure the chief of police would be a good ally. And Cody just looked at Dante and kind of looked down. Like, boy, tell that man he's your father. And he will move heaven and earth to make sure you're okay. He already moved heaven and earth and didn't bust Selena while she was running the card games in the back room. He will move heaven and earth for Cody with this. Because the same thing was happening to Dominique, Cody's mother, right? So anyway, Sam and Dante left, and we're going to see, you know, what they come up with. What they come up with as a plan of action, right? So then guess what? Y'all was right. I looked at comment corners ahead because I didn't think this was her. This is Charlotte. See, Nina's looking. You know, Valentine had her play it back again. And Nina said, Valentine, we play it back again. It's not going to change. He goes, I got to see it again. I got to figure out why, you know. So they play it again. And he stands up and now he's bewildered. And see, we don't get to see this. Nina is playing it over and over again when everybody's gone, right? Because at one point, Olivia came in her office and said, what are you doing in my office? Oh, I was looking for the wedding planner book. I'm thinking of changing the date. So I thought it would just be easier to look on the computer to see what we have available. And Olivia looked at her. Well, you know, the binder's right here. The planning binder is right here where it always is. So she gives it to Nina. Nina goes, thank you. Then Eddie was with Olivia. You know, like they was the regular Joe. They're the regular stuck to the hip, right? So she goes, well, we're going to leave. She just came to get her keys. And she asked Nina to lock up, right? So Nina sat back down looking at the footage again and like, oh no, because look, Nina loves Charlotte, right? But look, everybody's forgotten about Charlotte. Nobody's raised Charlotte. Charlotte has always had tendencies to do wrong, right? It's innate in her. And Valentine has not been there consistent enough to assist her, to even give her a moral compass. Laura was the closest thing to that. And look, Laura is so busy running around looking for her adult son who makes his own choices versus caring for and nurturing her grandchildren, the next generation. Something is wrong with that, Laura. Something is wrong with that. And Charlotte shows up at, so then we see what Nina's looking at. And there it is. Charlotte sneaks to the door and it's all dark because it's black and white. And she pulls out a key card from her pocket and puts it right on in and goes in the room. So they know Charlotte did it. So Anna called the cops. She's waiting for them. And then she called back to say, hey, when are they coming? Because I really would like to clean up, but I don't want to move evidence. And so there was a knock on the door. She thought it was the cops, but it was Charlotte. She said, Charlotte, what are you doing here? I'm looking for my papa. Is he here? So Anna says, no, he's not here right at the moment. Aren't you supposed to be at Lulu and Dante's? Well, she goes, I took a ride share because I wanted to talk to my papa. And I'm thinking, girl, you have a cell phone, right? Which is probably joined to your hand somewhere. Text your papa. Because we all know teens don't want to talk. They want to text. So she goes, I am 15 now. And I thought, oh, really? She's 15. So that means little Aiden is 15 too, instead of 13. Because Jakey can only be 16, right? So anyway, Anna calls Valentine up in Nina's office and says, Charlotte is here. And he goes, Charlotte is there? And Nina looks up, right? He goes, I'm on my way. So he comes in and he's cautious and he's looking at her. And the police are there at this or come through the door, and Anna lets them. Oh no, I don't think they're there when Valentine gets there. One of the two, they arrive right shortly after. So they're trying to collect some evidence, and the cop said, "This looks like an amateur did this. This really does, almost like a juvenile thing." But he's like, because, and so Anna says, "Well, okay. I mean, soon as you figure something out, let me know." And he goes, "Do you think this is related to your house being burnt down?" And Valentine looks at her and she goes, "I don't know. I need you to tell me, but it could possibly be." Right? And he goes, "Well, what do you want us to do?" I mean, she goes, and Valentine wanted to like say, "No, don't do nothing. Don't do nothing." But Valentine can't say. And Anna goes, "I want you to do the investigation, your forensics, and keep me updated, please." So he goes, "Oh, okay." So he leaves. And Valentine tells Charlotte, "Charlotte, can you go on the house phone and let them know that, we need another room?" So she goes on the phone and she's trying to say that. And Anna looks at Valentine and he goes, "You know what, Valentine," because he's trying to question her, they probably won't be able to find nothing. No, she goes, "Was there footage on the security cameras?" He said, "No." I knew it. I knew he was going to lie. Big mistake, Valentine. Tell Anna. Tell Anna. If he tells Anna right now, with Charlotte there, and say, "Why did you do this, Monopotit, whatever he calls her, little mini me. Why did you do this?" And you apologize to Anna. And the next question is, did you burn her house down? Come on now. Hold her accountable. I'm not saying call the cops back and say, "I know who did it." I'm not saying that. Because Charlotte has been neglected and Charlotte needs some help. Sometimes kids do bad things, but it doesn't make them bad. But when they're never held accountable, guess what? Bad things become the normal for them. See, what we're looking at with Charlotte is a Esme and a Nell in the making. Esme and Nell. So they need to talk to her. She bears obviously some resentment for Anna, probably for her father not even getting a home with her. Because he was busy before Anna's house burned down. He was staying with Anna. Well, where was Charlotte? The house is huge. Why was Charlotte not there? When Finn had moved in for a minute, Violet was there. So anyway, it's going to be a cry for attention from Charlotte. It really is. But put Anna in the loop because she'll protect Charlotte. She really will. She won't be pressuring the police at all. But she'll tell Valentine that, you know what? You need to get her some help. You need to get her into counseling, you and her. Whatever it takes, right? To get Charlotte what she needs. So Valentine is going to he may say something. Well, I know he's going to say something too. He's going to let her know he knows, but he's not going to hold her accountable. And the only thing she's going to say, "I'm sorry, Papa." Just like with the relentless bullying of Aiden, I'm trying to make him stronger. Oh, girl, what no, So it'll be, "I'm sorry, Papa. I was just angry. Mom's house got rented. You are with Anna. I'm just angry." And he'd be, "Mama, Monopotit. It was my fault." Say, no. Well, because yes, it is your fault. But hold that girl accountable and teach her right from wrong. And what she did is wrong. I honestly do not think she burned Anna's house down. I don't believe that. Because even a 15-year-old setting a fire of that magnitude, where did she get the gas? She doesn't drive, because there was a definite gas can, right? She couldn't have ordered an Uber and got in with a gas can like that. So that wasn't Charlotte, right? But this room situation is Charlotte, and I am so happy Jake was not with her. Oh my goodness. We don't need Jakey to be involved, and he was not with Charlotte. So that was a good thing. So then we have Pikeman representative comes and brings a lot of money as you know what, sorry for your troubles. You know, we hear you have some little discomfort from the feds. This ought to make you happy. And Sonny says, somehow this is not a gift. Is this a down payment for something you want done in the future? And he looks and goes, well, yes, Pikeman does want to continue to do business, and we do have something coming up. So Sonny, because you know he had Dex stay, and Sonny looked at the guy, and he looked at Dex, close the briefcase and give it back to him. So Dex closes the briefcase, gives it back to the guy, and Sonny says, I have the feds looking down, breathing down my neck. And when they were questioning me for those 2 days, 3 days, Pikeman came up. So they obviously know about you and what I want to know. See, they don't know about it from my organization, right? So the leak is in yours. And the guy says, no, the leak wouldn't be in ours. And Sonny said, with an organization as large as yours, you have no way of knowing. So you tell your boss, until he can bring me evidence, and I mean in blood, on who is the leak, I'm not moving one thing, because the feds have been after me for years. And I'm not about to go down nothing for Pikeman. Ooh, right? Ooh, Sonny wasn't playing. So the guy just looked at him, got up, and Dex walked him out. And then Dex came back in, and he goes, boss, he got into a SUV with New York plates. He's gone. So Sonny says, you know, Dex, I want to know, what was your opinion of the meeting? And Dex says, boss, that's above my pay grade. Sonny says, you know what, do you think I pay you just to call me boss and open the doors? You know? He says, if you want to move up in my organization, I got to know you could think out a situation and you can read a situation. And he goes, hey, wait, by the way, what are you doing here anyway? Which was interesting, because Sonny was saying, you ain't even working. Or maybe he meant, what are you doing in my organization? Because from what I saw, Dex was Sonny's only guard. So Dex had to be on duty, because there was no Gabe or nobody else there. So when he said, what are you doing here? Maybe he meant in my organization. He said, because I respect your opinion. Or he goes, I want to know your opinion. He said, because if you want to move up, then you have to show me value. Dex started blah, 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 what boss this and the other, and you know what, blah, 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 and I think you need to cut ties with Pikeman, blah, blah. I mean, he just spit it all out. And Sonny said, wow, okay. Good information. He says, get you going and you don't stop, huh? Right? He was spot on. And so, because Sonny said, I see you observing everything. And Dex is thinking, I got to, because I got to report back to Mrs. S and Michael. So I gotta know everything, right? But Sonny don't know that. So anyway, that was their conversation. And then we have Trina. She comes, she's moved into the dorm, but she bought Curtis's favorite or a video game that he really loves. And she likes video games. It's the first time I've seen her play video games. And it was just released, and she bought it over for Curtis to play. And Portia goes, "Well, 3 heads are better than 2." And they both looked at her and they both laughed. Like, you video? No. Because it's one of those zombies, kill a zombie and all of that stuff, right? Blood, gut, shooting up folks, shooting heads off, shooting body parts off kind of game, right? Get the potion, this, that, and the other. And Portia says, "Look, I'm looking on the box and it says you could take virtual tours of someplace where the location that the game is set at." And they went, yeah, no, So she's sitting down with her popcorn, looking, trying to pretend. Trina, behind you, behind. And Trina goes, "Mom, it's okay. Like, look, I already know." She was just sore thumb, just out of pocket, right? But she was trying to appear useful. So we have Marshall. Marshall's at the club, and Selena Wu shows up. Now the club is a ghost town. Savoy is usually popping. Club is a ghost town, and Nika was like, "Ooh, the nights have been getting slower and slower, and this is the worst." And so Selena comes in with a handsome little boy toy. He's not one of her guards, but you could tell he's affiliated with her because, Marshall kind of Marshall raised his voice at her, and he came over like, "You got a problem here?" She goes, "Listen, Mr. Ashford's son, who owns this place, who the spark was from, his son, is stepping in, and he doesn't have to acclimate. But his son recently had an accident, so we'll let that slide." Because she goes, "You should sell it to me before it's worth nothing." And he goes, "The Savoy is not for sale." And she goes, "Oh, we're just gonna have," because he goes, "a bottle of the finest champagne, or a bottle of champagne for Miss Wu." And she goes, "Oh, no. 1 glass will do. Because there's a new club downtown called whatever she said the name was. And everybody is there." Oh, she's just cheesing it up. Everybody is there. And so Marshall just looks at her, and Nika's like, "Don't act," Nika's looking like, "Don't antagonize her. What you doing?" Right? So Selena and her guys sit down for a minute, and Marshall's just glaring at her. Nika goes to the back and leaves a message for Portia saying, "You need to get down here. We need some help." So Portia tells Curtis and Trina, "I've got to go run a quick errand. I will be back, you two." So she goes to the Savoy. And she goes up to Nika, to find out what happened. And she goes, "He's antagonist. He's getting in arguments with Miss Wu. Does he know who she is? He obviously does not know how dangerous she is." And so now Selena comes back and says, "We're going to go to the new club in town. Think it over." And he goes, "There's nothing to think over." And that's when he actually raised his voice a bit. And the guy came back and he goes, "Well, why don't you go on over to whatever she said the new club's name is, and see if you could buy that from the new owner, so you could run your illegal card games there. So you could run your gambling there." And she just looks at him, and the guy looks, and Marshall's like, "I don't care," right? So they leave. And then Portia comes over to talk to Marshall, and he goes, "She is trying to pressure Curtis into selling the Savoy. And the Savoy is not for sale." Oh my goodness, right? So Portia's just trying to talk to Marcia, but fast forward all that crap. I don't think she said too much, right? So then we have Olivia and Eddie. They come to the Savoy like they're a couple on a date. And Marshall goes over and talks to them, and he said, "I hear you had a good recording session." And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he said, "Yes, Sonny really set me up, and I'm recording as a demo. I haven't finished the song." And he goes, "Well, why haven't you finished it?" And he goes, "I'm waiting for that right inspiration. I need a muse. I need my muse." And so Olivia says, "Yeah, the ghost of Elvis," and he kind of chuckles. And so Marshall says, "Well, look, if you need a clarinet accompany piece, let me know." And he goes, "You play the clarinet?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I've had saxophone accompanies, but I've never had a clarinet." And so Marshall said something about, "Once you use a clarinet, that's it." Something that really didn't rhyme, right? And so they both started laughing, and Eddie's just talking about, finishing a song is not easy. You need the right oomph. And so Marshall says, "That's right. The right, So he goes, "You know what? I got an idea. Why don't you, here's a challenge. Why don't you finish that song? And next Saturday, you come here and you play that song here at the Savoy." So Eddie looked at him and said, "Yeah," but he looked around, he goes, "There's nothing inspiring if nobody's here." Right? And so Marshall said, "Look, we need something to market. The return of Eddie Main. Now we can market that." And Olivia said, "Oh, Eddie, So then he goes, "Listen, you and your beautiful lady," he goes, "I'm going to bring, the drinks are on us. I'm going to send over some drinks for you and your beautiful date tonight." See, he didn't say your wife. He knows Olivia's his wife, but your beautiful date tonight. It's on us. And so he walks away, and she goes, "You gonna do it?" And he goes, "I just might," right? And he said we were on a date. Do you, is that what you think this is? And she just looked at him. She said, "Well, we're out. And, we're having fun." She didn't say, "Yes, I do." No, I didn't. She just like, "And we're out having fun." So, and it's, look, call it whatever. We getting free drinks. And he was like, "Okay." Right? So they are getting along like two peas in a pod. And he said, "No, that's one thing he was right about. You are beautiful." And I thought, yeah, she is. Look at you, haven't shaved yet. So make sure you shave by next Saturday. So, we'll see. He'll probably be singing the finished song. Hopefully he has Olivia accompany him, right? Because at least she could sing. So anyway, let's go to comment corner. Okay, so many comments. This time, I'm going to start, let's see, as I'm skimming by, I want to say, Sabrina, great comments. I'll just pick a couple paragraphs from it. Everybody make sure you read Sabrina's comments. Tulip said, "I love hearing David Vickers' name. I miss One Life to Live." Isn't it funny that name David Vickers has been around forever? Soon as he said, "You had an affair with David Vickers," I'm like, David Vickers is still around, right? LaShawn says, "Blair Kramer never did say anything about her daughter, Star. She told Tracy that her son, Jack, was a troublemaker, and that her youngest was in college." Well, I think contractually, when Star, Todd, because remember they were hired by General Hospital, when Todd and Star left, they can't reference those characters anymore. For some reason, they kind of got into a little battle General Hospital and the makers of One Life to Live when they wanted to go on the internet, right? So that's why they never really said Star or John McBain or, I mean, they can't get in trouble now. It's been too far away, but that's why they just pretty much poof, like those don't exist, right? And Jody says it's Charlotte. Oh, you're saying it's Charlotte that broke in. I didn't believe it until I kept reading a bunch of comments, and I thought that would make Valentine look like that. Hold his hand over his mouth. His precious Charlotte. Mon petite. Ron, Ron said, it's funny how Valentine and Nina looked at that film footage, but they never looked at the footage of Ned when he fell into the pool. Well, Nina didn't want to look at that because she knew she was there. And I'm glad she didn't think of it because she would have deleted it. DB says, lavender ice cream. Good, really? Anybody still doubt Cyrus is Pikeman? I was woosed Valentine and Nina stayed together. Oh, I wished Valentine and Nina stayed together. I actually liked them as a couple. I really, really did. Michelle says, I think Charlotte and Jake helped her. They did those things at Alex Sweet, but by inking the mirror and her clothes, because you remember that Valentine was covering his mouth in shock, because he also said, he also said to not say anything about it to Nina. Oh, he said that today. Yeah, he said, please don't show this to anybody. Don't even say it. Let me take care of this. And Nina should have said, yeah. And look, that looks like about what? $7,000-8,000 worth of damage you're going to take care of too. Valentine. I think Charlotte's in trouble with her own father, Valentine. He better make her accountable for this. Sabrina says, hi, Michelle. I agree. I think Valentine sends her out of town suddenly. It is definitely her. Well, they let us know it was her today. They did. Also, didn't she tell Jake she was writing a book and wanted him to do the pictures? Yeah, but that had nothing to do with this. Sabrina says, hi, Daily Recap Lady, regarding who Nina and Valentine saw in the surveillance tape. I still say it, Charlotte, you were right. My reasons are the way the suite was trashed was just like a child did it. There are only a couple of people Nina would have that type of reaction seen. One is Charlotte. Yes, you are so right. Valentine asked Nina to keep it between them. Valentine has scenes coming up with Dante this week. I am thinking Jake may have helped her. Well, I don't know. It didn't show Jake at all. Remember, he's done some creepy stuff as well. Yep, he sure has when he was younger. Jake was brainwashed. As a couple, they give me Wednesday vibes. Wednesday Addams. And then regarding Esme, poor baby, she got her feelings hurt. She was just deflecting with Gregory because she got caught going through work papers on Alexis's desk. Why I don't know. I know why was she doing that. She didn't hear the conversation about the trust. Do the writers talk to each other? Poor continuity. Regarding Lucy replacing Sasha. Oh my God. Must you take everything from this girl? The thoughts and theories. And Lisa says, Lucy can't just replace Sasha. She's part owner. She sure is. Sasha will be back real soon. Lucy is just upset because it is all her fault. They're in this mess. That is so true. Her pillow talk with Martin is what started it. He just told her what she wanted to hear. Yep, that is so true. That is definitely so true. So he made Lucy think that she thought of it, and that's how dincy Lucy is. Lucy somehow finished it, and it worked. She registered it as the Deceptor and took it to the market. If Brooklyn admits she gave copies of the papers from Deception's computer, and it gave it to Tracy because Grandma was blackmailing her, I think Lucy, Maxie, and Sasha have a good chance of winning the rights to the deceptor. No. What that'll do is Brooklyn goes to jail for corporate espionage. See, because Granny will say, no, I didn't tell her to do it. And Tracy did not need she didn't fabricate the finishing products. She wanted the base product. Blair worked on the base idea. She just didn't finish it to go to market. So I can get a good base idea of a product and then build from someone else's intellectual and personal property. And that's exactly what Lucy did, which is why, if you notice, Martin isn't giving her any legal advice on how to get out of this. You notice that? He's an attorney. He should be telling her this, that, and the other. He hasn't said a word to help her. And Sabrina says to Lisa, hi, Lisa, I was thinking that Blair only sold the rights to her version of the Deceptor to Tracy. That is why Tracy needed Lucy's version to make adjustment to Blair's, which could be. Tracy would definitely do that. Oh, yeah. Because even Blair's stuff would still have some back dates to it that she's falsifying. Yeah, Tracy would do that. You're right, Sabrina. If Lucy can get Brooklyn to testify what she did on the stand, it might sway the judge. Look, Brooklyn go to jail. But if BLQ won't testify, they should charge her with corporate espionage. And this is a change of subject. Guess who they're bringing back to town? I read it on Soap Opera Digest. The actress they're bringing back Lois. They're bringing Brooklyn's mother into town. And boy, is she going to give Olivia some competition. Woo! Yes, she is. And that's going to be good, too. Let's see if Eddie Main looks at her and says, hey, I like you. Linda says, Blair's idea is just that, an idea. Oh, yeah. How does it hold water in court? We shall see. If I had a great idea of a car that ran on water and I have some prototype, beginnings of the prototype, but I don't take it to Shark Tank, that was still my idea. Did she register it? Maybe she did register her part of her idea. So we just don't know, right? I can see if Lucy's Deceptor looked very close to Blair's Deceptor. Well, it did. That's why the judge says, okay, these products are similar enough. We got enough to go forward. Then Tracy would have a case to sue. But with no physical deceptor on Blair's part. I know Marty may have mentioned to Lucy a wand, but Lucy came up. No, Martin mentioned to her a whole lot more. And this is going to do this to the skin, and this, but what would you want it to do, Lucy? I think that, yep, that sounds good. Yeah. He completely, as a matter of fact, Lucy said the other day, we all know, she goes, you and I both know it was your idea. So he gave her more than just suggestions, right? And I'm skimming down. To make a long story short, the designer was wrong for taking the blueprints off of the Chrysler property, and the blueprints were used in Chrysler vehicle. Oh, you're talking about a real case where I worked for Pickerton Security at the GM truck assembly plant in Detroit. And an engine designer came from Chrysler with some of Chrysler's design parts blueprints. To make a long story short, the designer was wrong for taking the blueprints, blah, 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 because the parts for the blueprints were being used in Chrysler's vehicle. Without the blueprints, Tracy legally doesn't have a case. Yeah. The case is very weak in real life. There is no patent blueprint for Blair's wand. Yep. Yeah, because she didn't finish it. So we shall see. P. Merle says, I just thought it was only me who thought this case is stupid. Yep. I'm like, why have BOQ still schematics when Tracy has no actual product to compare. But she does have notes. She has. Blair just didn't take it to market. She didn't put enough money and research into it to go further, but she had a definite, paperwork on it. Joe Teach. Well, sorry about it. I hope I'm not. Jody says, I love how you not only recap, but you interact the scenes with humor. Look, I like having fun, Jody. I love having fun. Lisa says, I love that too. When she does the voices, like Anna or Holly and Cyrus on a rant in the group prison, I laughed out loud. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Listen, I have already rambled on, and we still have a ton of comments. Thank you for all these comments in Comment Corner. Okay, and I just glanced at this real quick. Sheila says, psst, I read this Nicholas, none of us like is out. I guess the powers that be heard us. Please, he is not Nicholas. No, whatsoever. Nicholas, whoever they get, needs to be a stronger Nicholas. Because see, this Nicholas that they have right now, Spencer can mop him up. It needs a stronger stench of a character in Nicholas. So let's see who they bring, because do better. Do better, right? So that's it for Comment Corner. Comment Corner, please, everybody. I love the interaction. Love it. Even when I do get to read some of them, I do 10 minutes, and I actually went 13 minutes today. It's like we're talking about it. We get to interact, and we get to dish on our favorite soap. So I will be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.